So we're going to make a woman's knit t-shirt. Here is the pattern, and all you need is some knit stretchy fabric. When laying out your fabric, you want to make sure when you work with the t-shirt that the folds are on the front and back side of the pattern. So make sure that the back side's on the fold and the front side's on the fold. And then every other piece can be laid out following the stretch. So now we're ready to trace out and cut out our pieces. Make sure you are cutting all the notches you need for your pieces. So now that we have our pieces cut out, you want to make sure that you have one back side on the fold, one front side on the fold, one neck strap, and two sleeves. So now we can get to sewing. So what you're going to do first is you're going to get the front and the back side sewn at the shoulders. So you're going to open up the back side on the good side, which means the part that I marked on is the bad side. So this is the good side. Gonna lay it out flat. Then you're going to get your top part on the good side and put it on top of the back side. And you're going to sew on the shoulders only, a half an inch on your overlock machine. So you can pin it if you want here and do the same to the other side. So now we're going to sew these pieces together. Okay, so now we're gonna sew the shoulders on the serger. So you do not need to move your shoulders far in. It does just sew right at a half an inch, so you don't need to do anything except just put it in and line it up with the blade. So go ahead and just lift up your foot, put it down, and sew. There's no back tacking with using sergers, so trim it off, and then you're gonna go to the other side and do the same thing. So now that you have your shoulders attached, we can attach the sleeve onto the armhole. So now we're going to attach the sleeves onto the sleeve hole here. You want to make sure that you're looking at your notches at this point. So there's a notch up on top here, and there's also two notches on the end. The two notches means this goes on the back side of the shirt, and this one notch goes on top of the seam where you did the shoulders. Now we're going to pin it into place. Again, working good sides to good sides, we're going to pin it. Laying out flat, the top part is your front piece and this bottom half is your back piece. This sleeve here has two notches because it has to attach to the back part. So you're going to pin it here to indicate it's your back. And I'm just going to pin it to match up to the shoulder. So then the shoulder is up here and we're going to pin it. If you want to pin one in the middle, you can too. And you're just going around the whole shirt until it ends on the front side of the shirt too. So then the two corners. So it's going to look like this. Pinned in the back, the two notches go to the back. The seam up on top is this, matches the seam here, and then it goes to the front. So now we can go in the overlock machine and serge this whole area here to attach it in place. Do the same to the other side. So now that you got the sleeves pinned into place, we can go into the serger and overlock. The same thing that you did with the shoulders, you're going to do with the sleeves. You're not going to move the sleeves in. You're just going to sew it right matching up where the blade is here. So we're going to put the sleeve in, matching the end, and go ahead and serge it. The key is matching up all the notches to their notches, and you will have a clean sew. Now I'm at the notch where the shoulder is, so I'm matching up the notch to there, and I'm going through it. There is a little curve, and it's okay to pull on the knit a little bit because it does stretch, so don't be afraid to stretch your fabric. And when you get to the corner, make sure that they match up and you're pulling it in order for everything to lay out evenly. So we have one sleeve in, and let's do the other one. So now that you have your sleeves attached, you're going to close the body together, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So now we're going to close the side seams here. So we're going to put this in the serger, and we're going to overlock this all the way to here. So go ahead and pin it so you know what you're going to serge. Make sure that the seams under the armpit are matching. And then you're going to end the overlock right on the edge here. So you're just going to follow the pins. Overlock this all the way to this corner here. Do the same to the other side. So now that we have everything pinned, we're going to close the sides on the overlock machine. You're going to get the two ends here, and like I said, under the armpits, make sure that the seams are matching. Put it into your machine. Align the seams. When you get to the end of the shirt, make sure that the two corners are touching so it's even at the bottom. So now you're gonna overlock the other side. I like to flip it upside down when I turn it to the other side, just so it goes in nice and even. Same thing, when you get to the armpit, you want to make sure that the seams are matching. When you get to the end, you can go ahead and pull on your fabric a little bit just so it matches at the ends as well. Now that your side seams are attached, you're going to attach the neck. So this is your neck strap. What you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half, good side to good side, and you're going to overlock this end here so it's closed. So you can go ahead and pin it. Once it's closed and you have the seam, you're going to attach it here onto the neck. So now that your end is overlocked, you're going to open it and you're going to fold it in half so you can attach it. At this point, you can iron it if you want so your neck strap is nice and even all the way around. So now what you're going to do is you have some notches in the back part of your shirt here. You're going to match up these notches here with the seam of this strap. The seam of the strap here is going to match up with the notches here. I'm going to pin it. There's also a little notch on the end of your strap here, and you're going to match it with the front of the shirt here. You see the little notch? You're going to match them. So it's going to make a circle tube so you can overlock the whole thing around in a circle. So I would like to pin where the notches are. And then also I would like to hold my neck strap in and pin it to the shoulders, which they're here. I like to push my shoulder seams going back. Pin. So the neck strap is inside the top part of the shirt, kind of like a tube. So you're going to start where the back seam is on your overlock machine and serge it all around in a circle. So now I'm going to start my overlock. I'm going to take off the pin where the seam of the back neck was, and I'm going to put it in the middle with my hands. And I'm going to start off my overlock here. Like I said, you don't need to go in deep. You just want to follow the edge of the blade. So I'm going to put my neck here, the strap. And I'm going to start. When I get to the shoulder, I'm going to take the pin out, put my seam facing back towards the back notch, lay it flat and straight, continue with the circle. And now when I get to the neck strap, the front part, I can't really see my notch, so I'm going to just notch it a little bit more. My scissors. And everything is nice and even. The notches are matching. I'm going to make sure that everything is lined up and straight because you technically have 3 layers and you want all of them to sew. So make sure it's nice and straight and continue till you get to the center front of your shirt. Here's the notch. We're going to sew through it. Now you've reached the other side of your shoulder. Make sure that the seam is facing back. Everything is aligned and straight. And now we're back to the back part of the shirt where we started. just make sure at this point here, we want to make a straight line. So we're going to match it up and we're going to kind of blend it and cut it off at the end. So make sure everything is in place, it's straight. If you need to tug on it a tiny bit, that's fine. And just sew it. And then this is where I start blending it out, and then it's out of the machine. And you're gonna trim it off. And then so now it's a continuous circle around. So now that we have everything attached, we're going to flip it inside out just to see how everything looks. We still have to do the bottom end of the shirt to clean it up with the cover stitch machine, and also the ends of the shirt here. We're going to use the cover, but let's flip it in right side out so you can see that the neck strap is in place. The side seams are in place and even, and also that the neck is attached fully around, which it is. So now we can do the ends of the shirt on a cover machine. So now we're gonna use the cover stitch machine to finish the edge of the t-shirt. So what you have to do is roll just once, a 1/2 inch in, put it in your cover stitch machine, and finish the whole edge. Using a cover stitch machine, you do not have to back tack. So I'm starting off one side of the shirt. I'm lining it up to the foot. I'm putting my foot down, and then I'm going to flip my shirt up this way to make sure that the lines on the bottom of the zipper foot are matching the lines of the end of the shirt. So you're just going to have this steady pace all the way around of a 1/2 inch inward. At this point, I like to flip my garment over just to make sure that the cover stitch is working, which it is. So I'm going to continue. So when you're getting close to where you started your cover stitch, you want to make sure that you're going to end right on top of the same seam you started, because this does not have a back stitch. You're going to continue going a little bit, like a quarter over the seam where you started. So this is how your cover stitch on the bottom is going to look like. You're going to do the same thing on the armholes. So you're going to get your armhole and you're going to flip it about a quarter, 1/2 inch in. Put it in your cover stitch machine. Right under the armpit seam, that's where I like to start. And like we did before, we want to make sure that the teeth of the bottom of the cover stitch foot is matching the end of the fabric here. And you want to have the same length through the whole armhole. And when you get to the end, like where we started, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to match up the seam. And then this is your sleeve cover stitch. And do that to the other side, and then you'll be done with your shirt.